Your go.
The meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everyone to the June 27th, 2023 regular scheduled Portland City Council meeting in the Linda Hartlop Council Chambers. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, Lord's Prayer, and a moment of silence for those serving.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and power, and glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Thank you. You may be seated. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Beth Gilman.
Here.
Margaret Phillips.
Here.
Richard Morgan.
I am here and on time.
Kelly Kangle.
Here.
Pat Hovis.
Here.
Jerry Trolley.
Present.
Kathy King. Here.
Thank you. Council, you previously received the meeting minutes from June 13, 2023. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes from June 13th.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? I have a motion by Ms. Phillips, seconded by Mr. Trolley to approve the June 13, 2023 regular meeting minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. The minutes from June 13, 2023 are hereby approved. The chair notes that certification has been made regarding the compliance of the rules and notifications of this meeting. We have no guest presentation, no public comments. Move on to executive officer reports. Council, at the last meeting, there were a couple people from the city that were concerned about the Airbnbs in the area. I'm going to assign that to the Safety Services Committee, and Ms. Phillips can announce when her next meeting is. Also, I know that the mayor will go over his red, white, and broom for this weekend, so I won't take that away from him, but I will talk about the Squirt Gun Run. It's for the Women's Club, and they use that money to pay for scholarships. So you can sign up that morning. Registration starts at 8, race starts at 9, and there's someone usually squirting you when you walk or do the race. You can walk, you don't have to run. It's a nice time, usually done within an hour. And I would just like to wish everyone a happy 4th of July. Move on to the mayor's report.
Thank you, Madam President, members of council. Good to see everybody again. I want to introduce two folks in the audience today. As you know, mayor's a part-time gig. My day job, I employ kids from overseas to work for us. We have a full summer family of 5. On your left is Iram. Iram is from Ankara, Turkey. She arrived a week ago. She's getting settled in quite nicely. And then to her left, your right, is Artis. Artis arrived from Kaohsiung, Taiwan about 6 hours ago. She is extremely.
Come to a meeting?
Well, they want to see, they want to experience everything, and this certainly is everything. She spent the last 24 hours sitting in JFK Airport waiting for her flight. So her English is excellent. Artis is actually the first J1 student that I met outside of America. We were able to meet in her hometown when I was there with my dad in March. And on the flip side of that, she was also the first J1 student I didn't meet at the airport because they couldn't get through the airport. But I want to welcome these ladies. Afterwards, we're going to get a big old greasy American hamburger. Ladies, is there anything you want to say to put you on the spot?
That's nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, good luck.
Both countries are democracies. The interesting thing about Taiwan, I just happen to know more about Taiwan than I do Turkey. I'm sorry, Adam. We have a 3 system, the legislative, judicial, and executive. In Taiwan, they followed the Jeffersonian model. Thomas Jefferson wanted a 5-panel government, the executive, judicial, legislative. There's also an auditing branch of government and a examination branch of government. The role of the examination branch is to make sure that the folks in the other 4 know what the heck they're doing. And there really is a huge exam that people study and work on. So just a little side note.
Oh my God, we should definitely have
Says the teacher. Earlier today, the folks that produced Port Clinton's Calling Me, that song that promoted the area last year, they released the second version of the music video. This one features local artists as well as the Art Garage. The producer, that Ron Miller, has partnered with the Art Garage and the Greater Port Clinton Area Arts Council. There will soon be merchandise available, and all the proceeds from the sale of the merchandise will go to benefit a nonprofit. In this case, it's the Art Garage and the Greater Port Clinton Area Arts Council. So if you haven't gone online already, just go to YouTube and search Port Clinton's Calling Me. You'll see both last year's video and this year's video. I think there are 25 artists either singing or doing some type of art in the video, and then hundreds of local folks that are featured in that video. The land bank is moving forward with their role. They've identified a couple of properties in town, and late last week they signed the agreement to demolish 2 structures. One of them is 340 Buckeye Boulevard, an end of an era. Sorry, Jerry, Rosie's is coming down.
Oh, no.
Oh,
And then the other one is going to be 226 East 4th Street. There was a home in that neighborhood that was raised a couple years ago. Mr. Colson has been working diligently with the county engineer on a couple of other properties to get those condemned. There are some funds available through the regional planning office and the land bank to raise those, so as soon as that process can happen. I think Mr. Trolley was talking to Tracy earlier before the meeting started about one of these. Most of the 2 that we're targeting are in the Gardens area and have been long-time nuisances, and they're both delinquent on taxes and all the other things that need to happen. Later this week, the Toledo Sculpture Guild will be in Port Clinton to set up an art exhibit through the months of July and August. There'll be a total of 27 sculptures and 100 paintings on display at the Art Garage. And I forgot to mention that Artist lives about 3-4 kilometers from the Pier 2 Art Center in Kaohsiung, Taiwan, which the Art Garage is modeled after, if you will. So I can't wait to show her that. But through July and August, there'll be the sculptures both inside and outside the Art Garage, as well as the 200 paintings. So that's something that very much to look forward to. Mrs. Ostheimer has a picture I'm going to ask her to pass around. On my trip, again, on the trip to Asia in February and March, I had the opportunity to go to Nakhon Ratchasima, Thailand. It's a town nobody's ever heard of 800,000 in northeast Thailand, very close to the Cambodian border. Purposely went to their #1 fire station and exchanged the arm patches. I took one of the Port Clinton fire patches. They gave me one of theirs. It's on display at the fire station. But I had a great conversation with the chief of that department. And when I returned, with the assistance of the Port Clinton Fire Department, we mailed them half a dozen or so Port Clinton Fire Department t-shirts. I sent them to one of my J1 students from last year. She then sent them to her mom in Nakhon Ratchasima. Her mom then last week delivered them to the fire station, and that's a picture of the guys at the fire station wearing the Port Clinton Fire Department t-shirts. The mom is the one in the middle, obviously. So that's kind of neat, and that got a lot of play on social media in Thailand. These t-shirts came all the way from the United States, so that's kind of cool to have that connection if you're ever in northeast Thailand. That's kind of neat. And then, as was alluded to earlier, everyone has the flyer for the 4th of July. This isn't the official flyer, because you can see if you look at the bottom, it cut off the time for the fireworks. The fireworks will be at 10 p.m. at Waterworks Park, but again, there's a whole day's worth of activities planned. This information is available through social media. We have some volunteers blanketing the town to put the actual real flyer up and about. So if there's something you want to do on the 4th of July, it is certainly there. And Council, I sent you a text message on this Monday, but this past Sunday I had the opportunity to compete in the Mayor's Cup. This coming Saturday in Toledo is playing host to the Italian Bowl. It is American-style football, professional American-style football played in Italy. And for the past 44 years, their version of the Super Bowl has been played in Italy. imagine that. Well, this year it's actually going to be played at the Glass Bowl. And leading up to that event, Mayor Kapsakavich from Toledo has a whole week's worth of activities, starting off with Sunday, the Mayor's Cup. 14 mayors from Northwest Ohio, Southeast, state up north, got together for a punt, pass, kick style competition. The first event was the passing competition. I finished in 5th, hit a target and so forth. The next competition was catching. And surprisingly or not, I finished in 14th place on that one, in last place. The best part about that was that they had 2 quarterbacks there throwing the balls. One of them was the starting quarterback for Toledo Central Catholic High School, who won the state championship this past year. And the other was the starting quarterback for the University of Toledo, who ironically his first name was Taiwan. And when they were announcing my name over the PA system, I walked up to those 2 guys and I said, by the way, guys, I'm legally blind. And they what? And I can't repeat what the referee said, but it was priceless. This event was televised on Buckeye Cable Sports Network. The next event, the kicking competition, we started at the 20-yard line away from the goal line. It had 5 kicks to get closest to the end zone. Of the 14 people competing, 10 of them were disqualified because we kicked it into the end zone. It was a windy day. My 3rd kick landed 2 inches from the goal line, and as we were walking to the ball, the wind blew it over the goal line. And then the Piece de Resistance, the last event, was the obstacle course, of which I finished in 3rd place. Yay!
Yay.
But as I crossed the goal line, I jumped up, spiked the ball between my legs, landed, and dislocated my kneecap. So I have a meeting with an orthopedic surgeon tomorrow. Overall, I did not finish in 15th place, which was good. That was my goal. I finished in 10th. But we had a good time, met some great people. Oh. Jerry's, I've already come to the conclusion Jerry's going next year, if they do it next year. With that, Madam President, unless anybody has any questions, that concludes my report for this week.
I have one question.
Sure.
What town are you from in Thailand?
I'm from Taiwan.
Taiwan.
Yeah.
Taiwan.
The other one's Turkey.
Turkey. Okay, I got all my T's mixed up. That was a stupid American question. Forget I ever said it.
Ankara, which is the capital of Turkey, and Kaohsiung, Kaohsiung, southern port city of about 3 million. If you've ever bought anything that says made in Taiwan, it came out of that port.
Okay, thank you for covering for my stupidity.
Madam President?
Yes.
The Port Clinton is calling me. It will be on our Facebook page tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Oh, okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you have the treasurer's report, Bridget?
No, there is none.
Okay.
The auditor is not yet available.
Okay, thank you. Law director report.
Thank you, Madam President. I received notice that the short-term rental issue will be going to Safety Services Committee. I will meet with Ms. Phillips and give her some information on what we've collected and go over that. And so hopefully we can get moving with that. There are also a couple other issues that popped up that we'll probably have a conversation about as well. So we'll have lots of conversations. Also, just to report, the house on the corner of 2nd and Jefferson, that's the house that has the very high weeds all around. The owner of the house was cited, and she had an arraignment 2 weeks ago from tomorrow, so I believe it's 14th of June. At the arraignment, she pled no contest to the violation, which was under our weeds and grass. You have to follow all of the restrictions, or all of the guidelines for that. The judge gave her a $500 fine, suspended 350 of it, and she had 2 weeks to clean up the mess. Tomorrow is her follow-up hearing. I will be attending tomorrow at 10 a.m. because I drove by today and she has not substantially completed the task that was given to her by the court. So I will be asking for the court to assess the rest of the fine and then give her another period to clean it up. And then if she does not, we'll go to every day is a new violation, so we'll have to file every day to make sure that she's compliant. But as of right now, we're making strides. We're just not quite there yet. And that's all I have, Madam President.
Do we ever do like the cleanup ourselves at any point? Like, I know other cities have sometimes like will mow the lawn and then charge
Yep.
for it.
The city does that on a regular basis, and they'll get a weed/grass notice from the city. They'll have a certain amount of time to comply. If they don't, the city does do that. This property is unique for 2 reasons. One, there's a fence around it,
Well,
so the city can't get
Right.
into the property to mow. 2, there's a very large amount of poison ivy on the inside of the fence and kind of surrounding the fence on the outside. So that's another reason the city can't mow that. The city has already mowed the little boulevard strip that's out in front and has assessed that on her,
She's been billed.
She's been billed, I'm sorry. She's been billed for that. So unfortunately, because of the unique situation of the house, that's as far as the city can get, and that's why we had to take the route of charging her and taking her to court. It's an unclassified misdemeanor, so it's only a fine that she would have to pay. But the court has been really good with giving them an opportunity to abate the issue, and she obviously didn't. So we'll go back for the next hearing tomorrow.
Does she have the ability and the resources to get everything clean?
Yes. She owns property, which is a second income to her. And the summer is her busy season, so yes, she does. She just, from recent conversations, has a lot of excuses as to why it just can't be done. But yes,
For what it's worth, last summer, I, my mowing business left my business card in her door 2 or 3 times. And I would have charged a lot less than $500, but she never called.
so it's obvious that, you know, I think in addition to Mr. Morgan's, you know, kindness of doing that, other people have approached her and, you know, have offered different things to remedy the situation, but there's been no offers as far as we know taken.
Does anyone live in that, does she live in that house?
She does not live in the house. She lives right outside the city limits. But there is a tenant
There is, okay.
that
I
lives
see
in the
lights on
house.
in there, I just was curious.
There is a tenant
So it's a
and,
beautiful, I mean, it's a cool house.
It
just
is,
needs
it's
a lot
a
of
shame,
work.
it's like that, yeah.
but if you look at, you know, the weeds and everything, they're really encroaching on, you know, the tenant's
Right.
ability to actually navigate through that. But she did a little bit, but she needs to do a lot more, so we'll take that up tomorrow in court.
Unfortunately, it's difficult, because there is, I looked at it, there is a lot of poison ivy. And you either spray it or pull it and hope you don't get it. It's not as simple just mowing it.
Right, right.
It was at one point, but now it's difficult.
Mary?
Thank you. Yeah, going back to Mrs. King's question, I consulted with Tracy. Around 34, 35 homes were cited for our high weed grass notice. Of that group, half or so corrected the issue themselves. The other half, the city crews mowed shortly after Memorial Day weekend and have invoiced those property owners. And that list is constantly updated.
And Madam President, if I may add to that, just so there's more clarity, because I do that portion of it, the administration part of it. If they have not paid that invoice within 30 days, then it goes, it gets a lien on their property with the taxes. So that's how that is proceeded. And from several of the addresses, it's a continuous process.
yeah.
What, is there an average price for that assessment, do you know?
I would say, if you want to say average, would be about $275. It's $100 just for me to do paperwork. And then $60 an hour for each employee on site working, which can be done by half hour, and then equipment charges as well.
And also with this particular property, the city has attempted to reach out to the person who owns the property for probably going on year 3. Last year, she was up at she came up to City Hall to meet with myself and other managers on a different issue. And this issue was addressed with her directly. And she advised the city that she would, once winter comes, once fall, winter comes, or early spring before things get going, she would have a company come in and rip everything out and plant bushes or shrubs and obviously that did not happen. So once she was served with the lead/grass notice, she didn't comply, that's when we went ahead and charged her. We didn't just charge her right off the bat. I mean, this is something that's been ongoing for probably about 3 years that I'm aware of. That's all I have, Madam President. Thank you.
Okay. We'll move on to supervisors' reports. Mr. Colson, do you have anything?
Nothing tonight.
Okay. Chief Scott and Acting Fire Chief Gutman, you guys are gonna talk a little bit about the fireworks. Who wants to go first? Or how do you wanna go?
I guess I just wanted to remind everybody that just because the state of Ohio passed the law allowing the fireworks, that I guess I just wanted to remind everybody that of our ordinance that prohibits them in the city limits. So I posted it on Facebook last week, and I guess I just wanted to remind everybody.
Do you have anything else you want to add?
Well, as Chief Scott mentioned, they're just not allowed inside of city limits. I'm here to answer any questions that anybody has about the new laws that Ohio put forth regarding fireworks, because a lot has changed since July of 2022. So I can either give a speech as to what has changed, or I can answer any questions that you guys might have about it. I'll leave it up to you guys, what you want.
I say speech.
Yeah,
Speech,
speak.
yeah.
I like information.
All right, well, I think I know most people in here, besides two. My name is Brian Gutman. I'm representing the fire department. July 1st, 2022, Ohio passed law that you can now legally discharge 1.4 G hazard consumer fireworks in the state. This is only to be done on certain days of the year, though. They listed on the Ohio Department of Commerce, that list. It's under the Division of the Fire Marshal. If anybody wants to go and check what holidays that you were legally allowed to. But the upcoming ones of July 3rd, 4th, and 5th, legally allowed, plus the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday preceding and following July 4th. So this weekend coming up outside city limits, you'll be able to discharge 1.4 G fireworks. On the topic of 1.4 versus 1.3 G, that is a hazard rating for these fireworks. I had to look up this kind of stuff. It's pretty much the amount of flash powder that is inside of the fireworks. 1.4 G is pretty much anything that you can buy right up the road at Sandusky. The 1.3s are the big bombs, if you will, that the professional grade, the stuff we'll see on the 4th of July. Those are rated more of the 1.3. It's not the amount of grams that are in there, but it's actually the hazard rating. Outside of the days that you can discharge fireworks, there's a whole list of rules that came with it. You must be over the age of 18 to discharge fireworks. If you discharge any aerial fireworks, anybody under the age of 18 must be 150 feet or farther away from aerial. You can be 50 feet away from your showers, your land-based laundry. Anything that comes up under 18 has to be farther away. They did put in the stipulation you cannot drink alcohol and shoot fireworks. It is against all misdemeanor. Other than that, a lot of the stuff that was stated in laws is just about the storage. You cannot have more than 125 pounds of fireworks unless you have more safety measures in place. And if anybody has any questions beyond that as to the retail, hobbyist variances or anything like that, I'm not going to waste your time with all that, but you can see me afterwards and I'll answer any of those questions.
I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
The 1.4 G are things like little firecrackers and things like that?
No, those are the borders. Those are actually, if you have ever gone up the road to Sandusky, I mean, the mortars can be the tubes that you drop singly, but up to the 12 pack. Once it goes past the 12 pack, it becomes a 1.3 G rating because of the amount of flash powder that's in the packaging. But like the 20 shot aerials that you can get are still 1.4 G rated.
Cherry bombs and
1.4. Sparklers 1.4.
so
snakes.
people can, but not in town. In town, they can't do these things, is what you're saying.
The ordinance that was passed is the 1.4 G within city limits.
Yes, Steve?
Just to clarify, so prior to this taking place, allowing these fireworks to be shot off, the city of Fort Clinton has had an ordinance in place saying you're not allowed to shoot fireworks off in the city limits. Once the legislature went ahead and passed this council signed an ordinance opting out of this and going with our home rule authority, which we just basically maintained the ordinance we had in place. So we basically said, you know, this is great, but no, thank you, we don't want to participate in this. We would like to just keep what we have already in place. And there was a large amount of cities that chose to do that and stay where they were at. So we didn't adopt a new ordinance, we just
Okay.
opted out of what was proposed by the legislature.
Okay,
Said
so-
we'll keep what we already have.
In my yard, can I do sparklers in town?
Ask Mr.
It's
Gutman.
according to the ordinance that was set forth before me. I mean, that's up to the
If you
chief of
can,
the ordinance.
the way to
We're
look
more
at it, if
familiar
you
with
can buy it at Kroger's, like the sparklers and stuff like that, if it goes bang, you cannot do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And anything that blows up, even the little ones I can't do, but
That
I can do
is correct.
sparklers
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
snakes or
The
whatever.
little kiosk at Kroger is what we were talking about.
So basically, if I buy at Kroger's or Walmart, I'm probably okay.
Yes,
If I go to the fireworks store, not.
that is correct.
Okay, that's an easy one.
And
Thank you.
150 feet, that's like half a football field, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty far
Yeah,
distance.
that is some
It's
distance,
like
but that's
50
only for
yards.
aerial.
Right, and so
Yes.
aerial, is that like the
Shoot up in the sky. And it's
bottle
like-
rockets, all that kind of thing?
That can be
being
considered
aerial?
that.
Yes.
I love the vanilla alcoholic beverages, like, that will never happen. No, of course not.
And another thing to remember, it's, the city ordinance is a M1, a misdemeanor of the first degree, that is punishable by 6 months in jail or $1,000 fine. So,
I'll stick with
It
this
is pretty
part.
hefty.
How often do we have citations for this?
in the 20 years I've been here, we've probably had a few. We more educate people and, you know, if somebody's shooting them off, in the past we have taken them and, you know, taken them to the fire department to have them destroyed and stuff, but we haven't cited a lot of people over the years. Usually we just educate them, warn them, tell them to stop, and as long as we don't have to return several times or something, they're not getting citations and stuff.
Oh, thank you.
Do you have any more questions, concerns?
I imagine you want them to call the, like, not, you know, you don't want citizens to call 911 to report fireworks, correct? Like, I mean, I'm sure they do, but I mean.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just
We would
saying, like,
prefer they
should
call the
probably call the
non-emergency
non-emergency
line,
number.
yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you for all you do for putting on a real fireworks show for all of us to enjoy from the safety of across the beach. That's much appreciated. So I know you guys have a busy night that day.
How do you live with that?
I'm getting my bell, but I'm being called right now, so.
All right, thank you.
Anything else? If I can answer, I'm gonna walk out.
That's a great excuse to leave.
This is fantastic. It's like I planned this.
Call me at 6 a.m.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Okay, we'll move on to committee reports. Finance, Mrs. Thomas.
There will not be a meeting on July 11th.
Environment and Public Works, Mr. Chorley.
Status quo right now, but I think we should discuss some things.
So we are at a meeting
Are you
today?
having a meeting or not?
Are we?
No, not yet. I'm not scheduling it yet.
Okay. Safety Services, Ms. Phillips.
Thank you, Madam President. We're going to be meeting on the 25th of July before this meeting, and I expect the mayor to be there so he can give us some good information too. This will be involving,
The short-term
Short-term
rentals,
rentals.
Airbnbs.
okay? Now plan your operations and stuff on that, would you? Look at it.
Okay, thank you. Economic Community Development.
We don't have anything brought to us by administration, but we will meet the 25th after council for a short meeting. July 25th.
Thank you. Move on to correspondence. Under correspondence, we have Architectural Review Board meeting minutes from May 25, 2023. Planning Commission meeting minutes from May 25th, 2023. Planning Commission meeting minutes from June 8, 2023. And the Economic Development Transfer Form, TREX, the Bait House. Does council wish to take any action as to the correspondence?
Madam President, I move we waive formalities and the right to a hearing for the Economic Development Transfer Form, T-Rex, for the Bait House.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you, Mrs. King. Any discussion? Okay. I have a motion by Mrs. Gilman, seconded by Mrs. King, to waive the formalities and the right to a hearing in reference to economic development transfer form checks for the bake house. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Richard Morgan,
Yes.
Kathy Gangle,
Kathy, one.
Kelly,
Three.
Kelly.
Yeah.
I apologize. Kelly Gangle,
Yes.
Kathy King,
Yes.
Jerry Tiroli,
No.
Pat Hovis.
Yes.
Beth Gilman.
Yes.
Margaret Phillips.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, motion carries by a vote of 6-1. Does council wish to take any further actions to the correspondence?
Madam President, I move that we accept the correspondence as presented.
Thank you, do I have a second?
Second?
Thank you, Mr. Trolley. Any discussion? Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Phillips, seconded by Mr. Trolley to accept the correspondence as stated. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries, the correspondence is hereby approved. We'll move on to readings of ordinances and resolutions. Under third reading, we have ordinance 16-23. Would the clerk please read by title and summary only ordinance 16-23?
Ordinance number 16-23, an ordinance to approve April 2023 replacement pages to the Port Clinton codified ordinances and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Does council wish to take any action as to ordinance 16-23?
Madam President,
Mr. Trolley.
make a motion that we adopt ordinance 16-23.
Thank you.
Wouldn't it include the?
Yeah,
We have to retain the
Yeah,
emergency
you're right,
clause,
you're
so you
right.
have to ask.
I apologize. Make a motion to retain the emergency clause in ordinance 16-23.
I'll second.
Thank
This is my first.
you. You're just back from vacation.
Yeah.
Any discussion? We have a motion by Mr. Troy, seconded by Mrs. King, to retain the emergency clause. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Beth Gilman,
Yes.
Margaret Phillips,
Yes.
Kelly Gangle,
Yes.
Richard Morgan,
Yes.
Pat Hovis.
Yes.
Jerry Trolley.
Yes.
Kathy King.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries by a vote of 7-0. The emergency clause is hereby retained. Does council wish to take any further action as to ordinance 16-23?
Madam President,
Mr. Troy.
make a motion that we adopt ordinance 16-23.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. King, any discussion? I have a motion by Mr. Troy, seconded by Mrs. King to adopt ordinance 16-23. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Kathy King,
Yes.
Kelly Gangle,
Yes.
Jerry Trolley.
Yes.
Beth Gilman,
Yes.
Margaret Phillips,
Yes.
Pat Hovis.
Yes.
Richard Morgan.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries by a vote of 7-0. Ordinance 16-23 is hereby adopted. We have no second readings and no first readings. We'll move on to business from the floor. Mr. Morgan.
First of all, I don't know why I was getting called on first, but that's okay. Two things. First of all, I would like to apologize to Mr. Snyder's guests. Again, I know Americans geographically are always really stupid about the rest of the world. I really do know the difference between Taiwan, Turkey, and Thailand. And I could even pull them out on a map, and I could probably tell you something, I just wasn't thinking, so I'm sorry. I'm not as stupid as I appeared. Well, you can argue that one. And second of all, I brought this up before, but I had a niece in town over the weekend, and she was having a bad time of things and just wanted to kill some time at the beach, and she sat there for like 3 hours and loved it. It was, you know, she went by the lighthouse, that beach, and said, this is just the greatest thing ever. So it's nice when that happens, yeah. That's all.
Good to hear. Mrs. Gangle.
Nothing really. Have a great holiday. I appreciate the reminder of the ordinance. I'm gonna look directly in the camera. Nobody wants to hear any fireworks in city limits. Please don't. That's it.
Thank you. Ms. Phillips.
Thank you, Madam President. Edan is from Turkey, and I have been there, and I enjoyed it. Best place I've ever had lamb, which I don't even like. We had it out in the middle of nowhere. It was fantastic. They eat like that half of the time. I've also been to Ephes, also known as Ephesus, and Ephos. Beautiful. I enjoyed it. People were fantastic. I'm glad you're here, and we hope we are as nice to you as your people were to us when we lived there. And I have not heard any complaints about the city except for the racers on 2nd Street. And there's no way to do much about that. We have some kids using their motors, kids, everybody under 30 is a kid. fifties, going kind of fast on their motorcycles, coming from this old Standard Products era and going all the way down to Second. Glad to hear that we are moving along, because I really, the complaints I hear are tiny compared to what I've heard in the past. Thank you to the rest of you for doing all of this. That's all, Madam President.
Thank you. Mrs. Hovis.
Nothing tonight except have a nice holiday, be safe.
Mr. Trolley.
Nothing snagged me up for us.
Mrs. King.
I wanted to mention that there's a ribbon cutting Friday for the North Coast Beach Fitters down, in the North River Convention. So that should be fun. And I too have been to Turkey, and it is very nice. And I think my favorite part was being able to go, I'm in Europe, I'm in Asia.
How'd that go?
So, Istanbul is very nice. That's the only place I've been there, but welcome.
Thank you. Mrs. Gilman.
I just want to wish everybody a happy and safe 4th. I too would like no fireworks in city limits, saying I have animals that don't appreciate those, and neighbors who have signs posted about PTSD. So I think the city did a great job with what they did on that ordinance. And I hope everybody has a great holiday. That's it, nothing else, Patrick.
Thank you. Seeing no further business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam President, I move this August body adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. We're adjourned. Thank you very much.